DC Intergalactic Soul, the Honorable Brother, the Revolutionary yourself, Darius Lockhart, and I'm here to tell you to watch Powerbombshells every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern on the Fight Game Media YouTube channel. That's right, every Sunday at 1 p.m., and that's on time, every time, because when we stand together, what time is it? That's right, it's nation time.
Welcome to Powerbombshells 173. I'm Mel. That's Sam. We're just two broads talking about the wrestling we like. And guys, we are on Super Wizard time today. We are on Sonic the Hedgehog time today a little bit because we have a lot going on in our lives.
Unexpectedly, too, some of it.
As life is wont to do, as the wise man once told me, man plans, God laughs. Yes. We're having one of those kinds of days. So we're going to do as quick of a show as Sam as I can possibly do. We're going to shoot for 30.
Yeah. We'll shoot for 30, but we know ourselves.
So we have our own internal heart out, but we just wanted to warn you guys. And we did want to be here because I definitely wanted to weigh in on how awesome.
Yeah. And we had plans for the show, but I unexpectedly have a foster dog that was not planned at all. And she was really sick this morning, and I thought we were going to have to take her to the emergency vet. So we thought we weren't even going to have a show. She seems to be okay now. We've talked with the rescue. We have a plan in place. We're getting her some medication. And so we thought we'd at least come try to do the show, and then Mel has some IRL things as well, and we wanted to be here for you guys because we love doing our show and get a little annoyed when it's Sunday and things happen.
Seriously, because we actually like hanging out with each other and you guys. So it's just life happens, as we all know. And also, big shout out, Brad and Kathy, beautiful, adorable picture.
Yes, if you haven't seen it on the Powerbombshells Twitter or my Twitter or even Brad's, if you follow him, Brad and Kathy are the first people to purchase our brand new Powerbombshell shirt. If you missed that announcement last week on the pre-show, we have shirts available now, finally, and they so graciously purchased shirts, and they took pictures today of them wearing them. They look incredible. We are so thankful that even 2 shirts have sold, and that Brad has been one of our day one supporters. He and Kathy have been part of the Powerbombshells Nation, and we truly, truly appreciate their support. And if you would like your own, you can go right here to oneradtea.com. You can just go to the search engine and start typing in Powerbombshells, and they will pop up. They come in 3 different colors. They come, as you can see, modeled by Brad and Kathy. One comes in sky, which is a blue color. Kathy is modeling our azalea color, which is a pink. And then if you prefer your black wrestling shirts, we do have a black option just for you. But if you would prefer some color in your wrestling merch, we have some options. And we're just starting out with these 3. If they're successful and people want other colors, perhaps it's something we can do down the line. But we wanted to start with these 3 and just see how it works out. And they're available for you. And it's funny because that Brad and Kathy have theirs, but Mel and I have not received ours yet.
It's pretty good. That's service. Yeah, I know mine's out for delivery. I got my Shopify notification this morning. And I was like, oh, that's got to be our shirts coming because of where it's coming from. And I'm like, sure enough, they pop up and I'm like, that's actually kind of cool because it's more fun to see them in the wild.
It is. I'm so excited. And Brad says that they are great quality. They're inexpensive and a great feel, which is all of the things we were shooting for. We want something that's affordable, but also great quality, and that they look good. And so we don't want you out here wearing crappy shirts with our logo on.
I think we all, as wrestling fans, know the difference at this point between the merch that's the merch we really want to invest in and not. And I mean, people go to great lengths. What I love, that's Kyle is so consistent. And the best part about this, guys, just for me, is like he designed the logo in the first place.
Our logo I love our logo.
It's so fun. It pops on all the colors. It looks really great if you like the black. And if not, like Sam said, you get your other choices. I love my like pink Keith Lee shirt. It's one of my most favorite shirts to rock when I'm at wrestling shows, just because it's so unique. So I can't wait. I'm really excited. It's just awesome. I'm so excited that anybody we were like, okay, do we want to do this? But this is just better. It's a partnership. It works out for everybody. It's somebody that already has been working with us forever. And now you guys get to have Powerbombshells t-shirts that you've been asking for. Yeah.
So thank you for that. And thank you for listening to our plug. We will probably be plugging it more often.
and thank you for tagging One Rad T as well as us in that. Yes, that's absolutely awesome, because there's so much fun stuff. And it's a human being. This is a small business, guys. You're putting money into his children's future and his life and everything. And it's awesome. It's a friend. It's a crossover. There's so many levels. And then that's just seeing Brad and Kathy. I was like,
it made me so happy to see. And so thank you for doing that. We really appreciate it. And then Daza said, finally, the one wrestling discussion that isn't full of grumpy, snarky, middle-aged men. You don't find, well, I was going to say you don't find that here. Occasionally, we do have honorary prods that may fit that description. But which to each their own. But for Mel and I, you will not see. I mean, we definitely get grumpy and snarky about some things, but we are not white middle-aged men, so we have that going for us.
No.
And
where I'm a white middle-aged uterus, and it's hysterical. And so am I, and that's the most important thing.
Right. Yeah. Hey, Colin, it's nice to see you. I know life happens. We were just talking about some of the life we were dealing with this morning. So we are glad that you're here. We're doing well. I hope you're doing well. It's nice to see you here. And thank you to everybody else who's in the chat. We appreciate you being here with us. And even if you're not in the chat, you're watching, we of course appreciate you as well. And Nikki wanted to say before she forgets, thank you for the birthday card, Mel. She loves Snell, Mel, and the card is so cute. Also, my aunt says birthdays last all month, so your card wasn't late.
It's so funny. And I'll just tell you guys this story quick because it's literally genetic, and I've told Sam and Nikki this a few times. But my mother is chronically late with like birthday gifts, with any. And I mean, my dad was like, very much like, go write your thank you notes after. And again, I'm old school here. I'm dating myself, but we had to go write our thank you notes to the family members and everybody after Christmas right away. And I'm thankful for that because it's like I say all the time at Christmas, I can't buy you all presents, but I can sit here and I can make you fun cards that are related to you guys. And I like cards. Getting stuff in the mail too, because
Me too. I like getting things that are not bills.
Exactly. And I had pen pals. I am of the generation where I had pen pals. My first soccer buddies, I had to write to them with letters. So there's still something like really, it just feels good for me. And I like doing it. And I'm really glad you got it and that you liked it. But it's so funny. One year my mother literally handed them to Bob. And she was like, oh, here, these were your Christmas presents. It was July. I'm like,
Christmas in July is a thing. So
the idea, but I always remember that what my parents really said was, it's the thought that counts. It's about giving and not receiving. And so it's like with the, giving Mike his housewarming gift. It's like, there's sometimes you get something and you're like, there's only one person that this is perfect for in the entire world. And I just need them to have it. It's just like where I gave John his Nixon shower head. I could not live with myself if I didn't get to experience the joy that I knew that would bring to him. It's just fun for me. I enjoy that. I enjoy
gift giving too, especially when it's somebody that I can. I mean, sure, I do like the certain gifts that are like gift cards and things like that, because I was like, sometimes you just don't. But sometimes it's nice. It's fun to give gifts that that will really make them happy or make them realize that like you do pay attention to what they say, or what you see something like, oh, that reminds me of so-and-so, like you did with the shower head and things like that. So yeah, it's really cool. I love doing that type of stuff too.
I'm glad you got it. I'm glad it arrived safely. I love the mail. I will continue to support the USPS in all its glory.
Same.
Go USPS.
Yes, definitely. Daza, I don't know what these crowns mean because I saw them. I was in Speaking of Strong Styles chat on Thursday before their strong preview. I mean, their strong preview, their G1 preview. That was live, and I saw the crowns. And when they were commenting in like 1, 2, and 3, so I don't know if that's the people who comment the most often, because mine was like 3, and I haven't been in Speaking of Strong Styles chat in a while. And then there's like this little thing that says XP, and then they get point. I have no idea what it does. I'm guessing it's some YouTube thing. I guess
I was looking at it too. I'm like, what is going on with these crowns and XP? You can get XP on YouTube. So now I want to press the button while you guys are watching live.
Yeah, I don't know what happens.
So top fans. Oh, it does. Okay, so it does.
So tell like the Facebook top fans thing, and you like get a badge or whatever.
It's not. I mean, I'm looking at it on my personal because I obviously like to try to stay caught up. Oh, I'm getting 50 points just for looking at that. Awesome. I'm helping our stream too. It's great. Who knows?
I guess it helps us in some sort of way. So
you know what?
See.
YouTube changes its stuff so damn much.
Crash is probably right that we're leveling up training for AI for free or something. Probably.
It's like the chat, but I think of it like the chat bots in Discord is what honestly, it looks to me like they are just stealing the stuff from Discord.
Fine with us, Daza. Daza wants to be number 1, so he's just going to post some random stuff because he's fallen out of the top 3. Listen, it pushed our algorithm up, and I will apologize.
You know what? Speaking of voting things like that, since we're on the topic, Bob and I are still in that America's Favorite Couple voting competition. Yes. So you guys can vote for us. I've been posting it all over my socials. So if you're not,
I've been posting it to the Powerbombshells stuff. It's there too. I've been retweeting Mel. It's there. Vote for it. There are free votes, so you can just. Unfortunately, you do have to have a Facebook page. So
yeah, that's the one. The kicker on that was but I have some friends who have dummy Facebooks and things like that. So if they have their of-age children do it.
Yes, if you are still on that health site, you can go vote for Mel and Bob. They do have one free vote a day. There's also the option to donate. Like if you donate $10. They'll get 10 votes, but that money goes to charity. So it's not like it just is going to Jeff Goldblum in his pocket. It's going
to the food banks affected by the LA wildfires and an ocean preservation society out there as well. So
yeah,
all kinds of things that we've all talked about that we really like.
Yeah. So it's a really cool thing. It's a cool way to raise money, and it helps Mel and Bob because if they win, they'll get $20,000, which will help because as most of you know, they've got a new business that they're trying to get off the ground.
It'll help keep us in our cave with the lights on.
Yes. So Crash said that he will send you positive vibes because he doesn't have a Facebook account.
That's okay. I totally get it. And people have been apologizing for me. There's the mere fact that you thought about me is something that's huge and great. Like, it's humbling how many people have participated and across the different communities that I am in and how great it is. And I even have a good friend who was just donating money to get votes for us and didn't even know what it was going to. He was like, what's that going to? I'm like, you are so cute.
I don't know if they're still in it, but I was under the Powerbombshells account. I think I was posting it, and we follow Kiera Hogan, obviously, because we like her, and then also I interviewed her, and so she follows us. I think she follows us, but I was watching her story, and her and Diamante were also nominated for America's Favorite Couple. I was like, oh no, I'll send you the good vibes, but I'm voting for Mel. Sorry. I don't know if they're still in it or if it was like the early part, but I just saw it in their story.
Well, this is something I made a point to, and even like the younger kids when I was talking to the late teens and early 20s, where it's like, I don't have a cadre of I'm not an influencer. I don't have a cadre of internet army behind me. I have a friend that I know from fair background that has a TikTok that has like tens of thousands of subscribers on it. You know what I mean? Wow. That's not something that I can compete with. I know that's true. I know that the next round, it gets harder and harder.
Yeah.
I'm just, the number of people, the groups that they've come from, and the fact that people are even like donating on our behalf and continue to care about it and keep coming up to us and, you know, talking to us about it. That is so much cooler than anything. Like, it's become a thing. It's become a talking point for people to actually like talk to us. And well, regardless of like business or not, it's like we're getting to know our neighbors. We're getting to know people that we didn't really, I guess it's very humbling when you realize you've had an effect on somebody's life that you didn't realize you were having.
Yeah.
There's so much going on in the world that I think that we forget, like when we're, especially those of us who are trying to be really like, we're working hard to be decent humans.
Right.
It's nice to get a little affirmation once in a while because
right. Yeah.
You don't get a lot of awards for being a decent human these days.
Unfortunately, no.
The award for me is like, or reward or what. I mean, I'm grateful for those. I'm always into the charity thing. That's always my bag. You guys all who have been with us since the beginning know that. But it's just so cool that all of you have voted, that you've donated. I just think that's the coolest thing. And then the t-shirts. I mean, if we don't stop now, I'm going to start crying. It's going to be embarrassing. It's going to get ugly.
Well,
I'm not crying. You're crying.
Let's watch it. Let's answer Daz's question. Daza, Jelly Roll is a country singer. And because Jelly Roll is he's replacing Travis Scott at SummerSlam because apparently Travis Scott is not so good at the wrestling. As we know, he busted Cody Rhodes' eardrum. And apparently he's been difficult to work with. And so they're just like, you know what? We'll find somebody else. And so they went and found Jelly Roll is now taking his place at SummerSlam. So, and this goes back to what we've talked about, how WWE is very much for the viral moments. They don't, wrestling is obviously secondary, maybe third or fourth. Especially now with this TKO merger, they're all about what goes viral. And so they're bringing in more celebrities, and this thing is the norm now. And we were joking the other day that in like 3 years, WrestleMania is going to be nothing but celebrities and maybe a couple of wrestlers.
Yeah.
If it's even around at this point, because they're running this stuff into the ground. And they just, my editor at Daily DDT has had this theory since TKO became a thing, that they are going to make as much money as possible from UFC and WWE, strip it down, and once they run it into the ground, they'll sell it off, that's going to be it. And it's looking, the way this product has been rolling, it has been of late, it seems more and more likely that they're
super. Your friend is not only brilliant and intelligent, he keeps with people like Garrett who are on top of that. He
pays attention.
And you've always
paid attention to the MMA side of things as well as like the business stuff. And he's been saying since day one, he was like, they're going to up the ticket prices. He was like, casual wrestling fans or just families are going to get, they're going to get priced out of everything, and only a certain group of people are going to be able to afford tickets. But how long are they going to keep buying these tickets? Once they've seen it, you've seen it. And then
they're gonna have to keep rolling out new novelties. Bread and this. Jelly, this is so funny. Okay, so usually I'm like the last person to know on these announcements about these artists. I'm not gonna lie, it's just where I'm at. But in this particular case, because "Save Me," which is one of his most mainstream popular songs, is incredibly popular. You think it's popular in the songs land. Well, welcome to karaoke land, where
I bet
where the duet version is literally a regular thing that we do at our thing Monday, so much so that the gal that usually sings it was out last week, and I sang the girl part.
Oh, there you go.
So I even know.
But yeah, that song it's super, like, Jelly Roll is super popular, and from what I've heard, he's like a really good dude. So I mean,
I've heard that too.
I mean, considering Logan Paul is on the other side of the ring for this match, like,
who cares?
Thank goodness there's Jelly Roll to balance it out a little bit.
Little balance in the universe.
And now Logan Paul's thing is he's doing, because he knows what he's doing. He clearly knows he's the celebrity that came and took these spots. So now his thing is the celebrities coming in and taking these spots. Like now he's a wrestler and not the celebrity influencer that he still very much is, and is still forever for me a PR. He's just there to get good PR. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Google Logan Paul Japanese Forest.
Suicide trigger warning, please.
Yes, definitely. But if you don't know, and feel free to look up Jake Paul, who is his brother, and
am I allowed to say click whore?
Like, I don't know if one is worse than the other, but Jake might actually be worse than Logan, and Logan's pretty damn awful.
It's genetic, and their toxicity is genetic, much in the same way my being a little late on birthday cards is genetic, but mine is way healthier than theirs. So that's where
Brad said, did you watch? Yes, I did cover. Well, I did watch it. What did they do to our boy Ray Phoenix? Why is he dressed like that? Why was he dressed like he was in a women's match of the Saudi show? I don't know what the hell they're doing with Ray Phoenix. Penta, super over. I think part of it's because Penta was there first. So the fans had to get to know him as a singles wrestler. They built some stories for him. For whatever reason, they decided that they weren't going to do the Lucha Brothers, even though Raw desperately needs a tag team. Like the Raw division is basically 3 teams. It's been bad since I started watching again last year. And now
the Lucha Brothers,
and now
not make
Ray
them
Phoenix,
the Lucha Brothers.
They're not. They're singles. They were singles wrestlers, but because Andrade has nothing to do, Ray Phoenix and Andrade are now a tag team. They've been tagging the last few weeks. They won Friday night. There was a 4-way. So I didn't watch the Friday before because I was watching Super Card of Honor and I was covering that. So the Wyatts, which would it's Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy, won the tag titles from the Street Profits last Friday. This past Friday, there was a number 1 contenders match, and Ray Phoenix and Andrade won that. And so next Friday, the team of Ray Phoenix and Andrade are wrestling Wyatt Six for the titles.
Bless your
so
heart,
this just goes to show you that nobody knows what the hell to do when it comes to tag team wrestling. SmackDown had picked it up for a bit because they've got Motor City, DIY, and they've got Los Garza, Pretty Deadly. They at least they were doing something, and now it's kind of gone stale. And then Raw is just a nightmare. New Day got stripped. They had New Day randomly lose their titles after defending them 2 times. On their second defense, they lost them. Yeah, it's their tag, but tag team wrestling we've talked about this often. It's a mess everywhere. Nobody cares about tag team wrestling anymore, except for maybe DPW. And I can say that because I was at their tag festival last week for Nikki's birthday. And they did a tag tournament with 2 teams that should regularly be on ROH and AEW television. 1 being the Workhorsemen and 2 being GYB.
That's awesome. I didn't get to you should talk about your card.
Yeah, so it was the tag
Nikki's
tournament
birthday card.
Yeah, so they
started her real birthday card, not the one I sent her. The wrestling card.
So it was 4 qualifying matches, and so the first one was GYB, who are the current DPW tag team champions. They wrestled Miracle Generation, which is I've heard of Miracle Generation, but I've never really seen them. They're really good. They're a good up and coming team. I think they've been in DPW for the last years, but every time I go to DPW, they're not on the card. So Miracle Generation was them, and so it was Workhorsemen. I'm trying to remember who they faced. It was only a week ago, but I've watched so much wrestling since then.
It happens. G1 started.
Yes,
AEW is rocking.
Yes,
Robert.
was 3 episodes behind on ROH. I'm only 1 episode behind on ROH, but I still have to go back and rewatch the women's matches because I was writing articles during them and couldn't give them the time that they deserve or the attention they deserved. But Violence is Forever was on that card. I love Violence is Forever. They are Violence is Forever and Workhorsemen are former DPW champions. GYB is the current champion. They had a mock. They're not a real tag team, but it was Adam Priest and Trevor Lee. Which Trevor Lee is the former Cameron Grimes. And
okay, I know Trevor Lee.
Trevor Lee is Cameron Grimes, who was in WWE and NXT.
I almost never know their. This is terrible, but I almost never know their WWE name. I'm not gonna
Trevor
lie.
Lee was Nikki. He was in mine and Nikki's. He was in PWX.
I know because of you guys.
He was in CWF. Then he in NXT. He had the gimmick where he sold stocks and made a bunch of money and worked with Ted DiBiase because in real life, Trevor Lee he bought into some stuff and made a bunch of money. And so they made it to his character and it actually worked really well for a bit. And then it was a fun, And so Trevor's playing this great, like chicken shit heel on the indies. They're so good. And then I know who else, I feel like I'm forgetting. Who am I forgetting? I don't know why I'm not thinking off, but anyway, so the tournament, they do yes, thank you. It was bought into GameStop. That's what it was.
He was a meme stock winner. Lucky him.
He made a bunch of money off of it.
Good on him. Ape forever.
And then they made it into a character. And then I think he's still involved in stocks and stuff. I think he still is doing it, but
okay, that's actually kind of funny as somebody who has a little background. My brother-in-law made a good chunk of cash off that situation. The nerds figured out your work market, guys. Sorry. The internet was bound to figure it out.
Right.
Hey, women figured it out back in the 1800s and they pretended that never happened. So
what are you talking about? What?
So this is true. So some of the first retail stock trading, and when that means is personal stocks. So say I want to go buy a stock. So they were trying to get people into stock trading back in the 1800s on the retail level. So consumers, you and me. So they started advertising in women's magazines.
Oh.
Because women traditionally, and this is true in a lot of even the ladies that are couples, we traditionally keep the household stuff, including much of the financial banking and so forth, or at least influence the financial decisions in the home. So some of the first retail stock trades were actually marketed to women, not men.
Actually makes a ton of sense.
Because of our influence on either the bank account or some women just straight up, you've seen men do this, I'm sure, a million times in your life where they're just give it to her. She handles all of it.
Right.
That is... Capitalists were ooh, we know what to do.
Yeah.
So that goes back to the 1800s. But that's real. They were ooh, ladies.
Yes. Yes, you're correct. They cut off Trevor or Cameron Grimes' hair, and he was never the same. And he still is rocking the short hair now. But so the
now you got a little insight. You got a little insight into the history of market economics.
The more you know, learn stuff every day. Sometimes you do learn things here at Powerbombshells.
But they were the first nerds to figure it out.
Yes, untapped marketplace in the 1800s.
Hey, but it happened with the space missions. It happened with the stock market. What can I say?
Yes, I need them on my TV all the time as well.
The card.
So each match had a winner, and then in between they did. We did have one women's match. It was Queen Aminata versus Jada Stone. Who, when I went to my first DPW show 3 years ago, that's how I saw Jada Stone for the first time, and I think I had seen a little bit of Queen Aminata. That match was still incredible because Jada hits really hard like Aminata does, and it was very good. Queen Aminata is just incredible.
Strong.
And speaking of her, I was standing in line and I heard this woman behind me. She's like, so you love Queen Aminata? And her son was like, she is so awesome. He had to be like maybe 11 or 12.
That's awesome. I love those moments.
It was great. And then we also, even though the tag final, like the tag tournament was great, the match of the night was easily Cedric Alexander versus LeBron Cozone. It was so good. And actually, DPW, the show that we went to, airs tonight on DPW's. It's a subscription thing. You have to subscribe to them to be able to watch it. I forget how much it is a month. But that show is airing tonight. So if there is a way that you can watch that, I would recommend it. And then after that, to end the tournament, all 4 teams that won the qualifying matches competed in the main event to become the tag festival champions. And also, since GYV are the champions, at the beginning of the show, they put their tag titles on the line, meaning that whoever won the match not only won the tournament, but also won the tag titles. It was a really great show. I love tag team wrestling. But I was like, Nikki was like, I'm going to tweet Tony Khan every day until he puts GYV and Workhorsemen back on my TV.
I got your back. I'll up like that and retweet it.
Yes. And Crush says Workhorsemen are great. What little I've seen of them, real throwbacks, but modern at the same time. They do have a bit of spectacle about them. And they've both been injured and they just came back. And then unfortunately, Big Bill and Brian Keith murdered them on TV and we haven't seen them since. And I talked to, before Nikki and I got kicked out of the main room because it was late. And so before we got kicked out though, I talked to Drake, James, the real James Drake, not GYV, who is James Fake, because he is, so we've talked about it before. James Drake and GYV, that is not his real name. But because he started using that and WWE was about to sign them, James Drake, whose name is actually James Drake, had to change his name to JD Drake. JD Drake. Yes. So James Drake of GYV is Nikki, and I think Brad also called him that is James Fake. So I was talking to JD Drake for a moment after the show, and it was really good to see. I haven't seen them in person in a while, and so probably over a year. So I was like, so are they going to put you and GYV back on TV? He's like, we are trying. And I was like, those tag teams and both ROH and AEW desperately need both of you. And he was like, we know.
They're so good. It's so funny. They're one of the first, like some of the earliest tag teams I saw, Workhorsemen, I saw at the KOC for Evolve.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like they were, like Anthony Henry was probably on 90% of the shows that I saw there. Like him and AR Fox were almost always there. Like, and I got to see that, but I got to see them tag a bunch of times because JD Drake came a few times. He was there for like the Progress show and awesome. They're so awesome. I'm like, get them on my TV. I was so hyped to see them. And like you said, and then there was a slaying and
and then there was the thing, obviously Anthony Henry got fired for about a week and then they realized that was not a good thing. And then they brought him back and then JD Drake got injured and then Anthony got injured and it was just, they both were out for a year and it was just, but they've come back. They look incredible. I was so happy to see them. They haven't missed a beat. I need them on my TV and yes, I am biased because I've known them both for a very long time. But I love them and I want them on TV. I want GYB on my TV. I need, especially when you're trying to, like Nikki said, but I get to watch the same match over and over with FTR. And if they don't, they need to get them the hell away. I mean, I know they're setting up FTR versus Cope and Christian in Toronto. That's clearly where this is going. But they've made a reference, and I was like, keep them the hell away from those tag titles because that's when the AEW tag teams division started going down. As when FTR had those titles, and I was like, please keep them the hell away from them.
Well, they have nothing new to say.
No, God.
They have nothing new to say. They come out and break. They come out. They do the same shit, and they cut the same promo. I don't even have the history with them. Although knowing what I know now, that's also disconcerting.
Yeah.
Like, it's played out. It's like when MJF was doing his things play out. They cannot hold those belts hostage anymore. They have got to get circulated, or we need serious. You've got other teams. We get it. Oh my God. Top Guy's out.
Yes.
Please, can you just be out and just be out for a while? Can you go hang out go kick it with somebody else that needs a vacation?
Yeah. Please. I don't know how I forgot one of the tag teams, because it was a team that is not usually a tag team, but
Probably had a lot going on.
It was an incredible tag team of Jake something, who I love, and my tribal chief, the Beast Mortos, was on this card, and I got to see them wrestle, and I got to meet my tribal chief.
Yay! It happened. I was like, wait, I'm not going to ask her. I'll wait until the show and let her.
Yeah, I was going to post it earlier, and then this week just kind of got, again, our foster dog ended up coming here on Monday, and it's just been, things just kept happening, and I didn't mean for it to keep being put off. Then I was like, at this point, I might as well just wait till the show. So I did. Nikki and I got to meet him after the show. It was funny because we got in line, and somebody in front of us, a few people in front of us, happened to be like, hey, he's only taking cash if that needs anything. And I was like, crap, I forgot to bring cash with me, because I meant to grab it, and I had spent the cash that I did I spent, like, of course, like the week before. So the wrestling show was in the Durham Convention Center, which is attached to a Marriott hotel. And so there's a lobby that connects them, and there was an ATM, thankfully. So I'm like speed walking to the ATM machine, speed walking back to get in line, because I was like, I don't want to miss him. Like, I don't know how long he's going to be here, and they're already kicking people out. Like, we got to hurry up. Got in line. So I talked to him, and I said, when you did the tarot readings on Twitter a few weeks ago, and I was like, you did a reading for me. And he was like, and it took him a second. He was like, I did. And he was like, well, what was it? And I tried to, I have it screenshot, and I have it bookmarked. Like, I should have just looked it up, but I gave him like the general thing. And he was like, I'm so happy. And he asked me a couple of questions, and he said, when it comes true, tweet me and tell me. He was like, awesome. I want to know what happens. And he was like, because I believe it will happen. And he was like, and I want you to tell me when you're successful. I was like, oh my God. And so it was great. He's super nice. He was wearing the mask, so it was hard to hear him a little bit. So he asked me a question, and I think I'm not sure that I answered it properly, just because it was hard to understand it. But for the most part, we could communicate it well. But that mask is like right over his
those things
mouth.
are impossible.
So it just makes it muffled. But he was really kind. He told me several times, like, please tweet me when it comes true. And then so he personalized the picture, and he thought he knew how to spell my name, but he was like, will you write it down just to make sure I spell it right? And so I wrote it for him, and we took a picture. And I know it's incredibly egotistical, and so not egotistical, but just like, I didn't like the picture. I think I looked terrible in it, and I was like, and I know that that's besides the point, but also I'm a woman who's been conditioned to think certain things. And so like my mom was like, so I was telling my mom, and she was like, don't worry about the picture. She was like, all you're going to care about is the memory that you met this wrestler that you really like, and he was really nice to you. She was like, that's what you're going to remember, not the picture. And I was like, you're right. But I was like, sometimes those things happen, but still. And so Nikki got to meet him as well. And Nikki told him that she was like, you had already stopped doing the tarot readings by the time I asked my question. And yeah, Nikki said that she didn't get to comment hers in time. She's like, I don't know if he heard me. Hopefully he does it again soon so I can get one. And he told me, he was like, I don't have my cards with me. And I said, I was going to bring a set of mine, and I forgot them. And I was like, but next time. And he was like, yeah, next time.
Awesome.
So it was
my God,
great.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and then Nikki and I got to see him do a tornado, which was great because he does them all the time. And I'm like, I'm always having to write about them. And so I got to see, I didn't get a destroyer.
Person.
I didn't get a destroyer, but I got a tornado, which was pretty damn cool.
That's cool.
And it was great. And I think Nikki had a really good time. And she did listen to the chat, and she did wear her big button. She didn't have, I think, Nikki can correct me. I know, well, Anthony Henry's wife, who we've known for a long time, she did tell Nikki, she's like, oh, it's your birthday and happy birthday. And Drake said, so, oh, he told me to keep her in line or keep her out of trouble. And I was like, well, so I said something about being her birthday. He's like, yeah, I know it's her birthday. Keep her out of trouble. And so I think those were the only wrestlers that said anything. But, or well, no, I think Nikki can remind me. I think Cedric, because we talked to, we were getting kicked out again. We got kicked out of the main room where Anthony and JD Drake and his wife were, or Anthony's wife were. But then we were standing after we met our tribal chief. We went down to talk to Cedric, and security was like, he's like, take this to the lobby or something. Y'all gotta go. And so Cedric was like, wait in the lobby, I'll come find you. And so Nikki took a birthday picture with him, and then we chatted with him for about 15 or 20 minutes before we had to get back on the road. And so it was cool hanging out with, getting to catch up with him. And it's getting to see Cedric twice in like 2 weeks and after not seeing him for years was really cool. And so it's good to catch up with him. He thanked me for the interview. Oh, I did remember to give him a Power Bombshells pog. I had it.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know anybody well enough at DPW to be like, can I leave these here? And I didn't. Chris Lee was there, but we didn't see each other. We were on opposite sides of the room, and he didn't know until I tweeted that I took Nikki for her birthday and tweeted the picture of us. He was like, I wish I had known y'all were there. Probably could have asked him, but I was telling him how you and Bob are really great about giving them out, but I'm not, and I forget. Or like the last time I was going to do it at Ashe, Darius's mom was not there for me to ask, and it was someone else, and he was already stressed out enough trying to do tickets. I was not going to add to it,
of course.
And he said, you gotta promote yourself, and I was like, I know, Cedric. And so he put it, I watched him, he was like, I'm gonna put it in my wallet so I don't lose it. And so he put it in his wallet. Who knows if he'll subscribe or watch it, but at least for that moment it was in I know he had it.
That's awesome. You'd be surprised. And that's a lot of practice. Like we used to do so much outreach this is like even with the insurance situation. You can like talk to people on the phone and you can do lead calls and you can do all this stuff all you want to. But the reality of the fact is like when it comes to sales like this, like I was selling a soccer program for little kids and tweens, but it was focused on a specific aspect, and it was using soccer as a vehicle to teach kids a bunch of life skills, and it was an awesome program. But I had to go where the Parks and Rec people were. Like you have to put yourself where I started doing like figuring out like doing community fairs, doing conferences, there's a lot to be said for that sort of thing, because there's a weirdly captive audience where the people are at that place where it's like, what's this? What's your thing? What are you doing?
Right.
And so it gives you an opportunity. People are going to remember, just like you had, a face-to-face interaction so much more than they're going to remember that someone, especially these days, it's worse than ever. Like, unless you are really good at engagement, which takes work and effort, as you well know, every single day, like you're doing it all the time, every day, even like you throw Power Bombshells in there as part of your like extra stuff that you're doing. I love that. It's amazing. I don't know how you keep up, but it's a grind for everybody in whatever they're doing right now. So yeah, it's just having those avenues or having those people or whatever. It's good information and it's good backup.
Yes, it is.
Plan B.
Thank you. That was very kind of you. We appreciate that. Thank you very much. We appreciate that, truly. I made sure, because I had gotten out of the habit of doing it, and so and also because I switched cars. So in my new car, I have them in my glove compartment so that they're in there, and then I also have some in my purse in a plastic bag. So I'm trying to be better about them.
I'll be totally straight up. It's really Bob. Bob is really the one. He is such a quick draw on that
Bob,
stuff.
We appreciate you so much. Thank you.
He's the quick draw. He's like, here's giving. He like gave one to a healthcare professional the other day that asked him a question about. It was adorable because she was like, "Have you ever heard of a wrestler called Bryan Danielson?"
Have I?
Have I? He's like, here's my wife's podcast. See, he's like that about it. I mean, that was like, he's just fast.
So he's
fast
good at it. He's good at just being able to get that right in there.
Yeah, he's good at it.
Awesome.
So. And the circle ones are way easier than the square ones, but yeah. So.
Yeah. We appreciate that. And I McBeat said that he's just popping in for a second. The Evolution main event was so good. I rewatched Lyra Becky from Money in the Bank. That's a low-key 5-star banger. So I have yet to have time in my schedule to watch Evolution. It is on my list of things to watch. He said he's working this evening. I'll catch you next week. Enjoy TNA tonight. I need to watch G1 night 2 also. I have to watch the first 2 matches. I got through the first 8 matches of night 1. And so I have to watch those plus the 2. So I'm with you. There's a lot of wrestling going on. I have not had a chance to get to Evolution. It is on my list of things to get to. I've tried not to look at a whole lot of things just so I can like really enjoy it, but I've seen some things, like I heard about how they called Candice LeRae Candice Michelle Michael Cole. I know it was just a slip up. It happens, but I was just like, oh no. But it was fun. It was interesting because so we were at DPW and my friend texted us from WrestleTix, I think it was, saying that there were only 48 seats left. And I was like, and just a few days before, like they were still had a lot of tickets. And I was like, I bet they're giving away tickets. I bet they're papering. Yeah. And I was like, which is unfortunate. Not even 10 minutes later, Nikki and I's friend in Atlanta said, me and Alex, who was her husband, are at Evolution. We got free tickets. And so I was like, oh no. And she was like, yeah, she's like, we have a friend who works for Ticketmaster and they had tickets available and asked if we wanted them. And she said, and I was like, and we told her about that tweet. And she was like, it's only sold out because they have blocked off all the seats up top except on the camera side. So when the camera looks at it, it looks full up here. But she was like, it's not. She was like, the rest of the arena, the top set of tickets it's blocked off. And she was like, so it is not really a sellout. But she did say, because I told her, I was like, I hope that they have a really good show despite all of, everything they have against them. Because I was like, those women deserve better than that. And she said that the crowd was really loud for them. They were really hype. And she was like, so you'll at least be happy about that. And she was like, but yeah, she was like, she was like the seating. She was like, I can tell you, she's like, they are not sold out. She's like, it's blocked off a lot of it. But she said that, the crowd was super into it, which, I'm really glad for that. Cause that's what we've said all along is, despite everything that was stacked against them, I hope that they delivered and I hope the fans really enjoyed it. And from what I heard, they delivered. Of course, Paul went and said afterwards, it was a great show. It was really successful. I'm sure I'd like to have another one, but he won't commit to it. So because they don't have plans, regardless of what Paul Levesque tells you, they don't have any plans to do that. They can hold it every year if they wanted to. They just won't put in the effort. They could give it its own weekend if they wanted to.
They could.
They just
have
don't
8 jillion pay-per-views. They're adding Saturday night's main events and stuff.
And so. Yeah, and so I won't hold my breath for whenever the next one is, but I do plan on checking it out when I get some time. But now G1 has started and it's on my list of things to get to. I may just have to put it on. I just may have to put it on during the day while I'm working. Yes, they did on the next night of Raw. They did give them most of the show. There was one men's match and it was the main event, but that doesn't make up for how they typically book the win. I mean, I'm glad that they got that, but it was, it's not something they're going to go out of their way doing every week. And again, we talk about AEW and their how they treat the women's division all the time, but I've watched that company long enough. I know what they're doing. I know when they need another here, damn moment, they'll give you.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. When they need another look over here,
have come out of here, damn, shut up, here you go. And they've come both.
Or, look over here from Janelle Grant and all this other stuff because we love women.
Yes. And this time we're counter booking AEW We're booking it directly across the street from Beyonce, and we're giving you 7 weeks to figure it out. And then Goldberg comes back and talks about how he wishes his match got more than 3 weeks of promotion. And I was like, seems to be a trend of things that they do, of when they don't want to promote things.
Somebody told me about that I ran into at the brewery that was like, they were like, oh yeah, they just had Goldberg come back. And then they were talking about how just even for like, they were like a fan of the product and were like, oh, it was really stupid. And I was just like, oh dear.
Yeah, apparently the match was not long at all.
And then some fans straight up, some WWE fans were straight up mad. They said Goldberg deserved better. And so I was like, whoa, that's a take. Because that tells you, because I mean, we know the mindset. So it's like, okay, that is pretty, when your own fan base is actually mad at you for a change and not literally everything else. Oh, oops.
Yeah.
It was like when they booed Hulk Hogan. It was like they didn't get it. They just don't get it.
No, they don't. And they just don't care. They want the viral. That's what they thought. They thought Goldberg was going to get, the viral stuff on the internet, and that
they thought they were going to make money off of it, and they didn't.
That's the attention they were going to take away. They thought they were going to cut away. I mean, they were going to get attention away from, or social media away from AEW. They double booked. I mean, they booked NXT and Saturday Night's Main Event back to back, and then a women's show. I mean, they've done this. They've already announced NXT is having their next show to go against Forbidden Door. Like they're
counter booking, and AEW is dying, right?
With other stuff, but AEW isn't a threat.
AEW is dying, and they're not counter booking them at all.
Yeah, it just. And they cut off his acceptance, like not acceptance, but he was doing a speech afterwards, and they cut it off. And then they're claiming, oh, it wasn't on purpose. It wasn't on purpose that you cut off Goldberg and his retirement speech.
I just want to do the thing that I don't like to do because I don't like whataboutism. But can you imagine if Tony Khan had done that to a legend, and how?
Well, the thing is, Tony Khan has tried to get Tony Khan has tried to get Goldberg. He's approached him several times about doing something, and Goldberg always says no because of his loyalty to WWE. Which fine, I get it, but then they're treating you exactly. I'm not surprised that that's how they treated him. And then now he's going on Ariel Helwani's show complaining, and some people have a theory it's because he wants Tony to bring him in now. And I was like, Tony should not bring him in now. He had multiple opportunities.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it now.
Now down, so no, don't waste your time on Goldberg. He
had a chance. He decided to pick the other company. At this point, as an AEW supporter since day one, I do not need that on my AEW television or pay-per-views.
No.
At all.
True.
Bret Hart is wise, though. So.
Yes, Bret Hart is wise. Speaking of all this, since we were going to go like an hour and we're now 53 minutes in and haven't hardly talked about it.
Get to it. Let's get to it.
AEW had their big, gigantic All In pay-per-view last week.
Yeah, they did.
And we had our pre-show, and if you saw the beginning of that show, you know that Nikki and I were having to help our dad take care of his dogs while he was out of town for work, and then he ended up coming back later than expected. So we had to, at like right before the maybe 2:45-ish. No, it was like 2:30. My dad was like, "Hey, can you go let the dogs out?" And we're like, pay-per-view starts in half an hour. So we're like, we're just going to watch it on the phone. So that's what we did. We went over to my dad's, and we wanted to give them time out so they weren't like having to, cut up. So we watched on the phone, we watched the first two matches, listened to Adam Cole, saw a few minutes of the 4-way, and then left during the 4-way and made it home just as Young Bucks versus Swerve Ospreay, the match itself was about to start. So it was an adventure. So Nikki and I have gone back and we have watched we've made it up to, I think we just finished because we were having to watch it in bits. We made it up to the tag team match again, and so we're getting ready whenever we go back to it. But now G1 has started, so who knows? We'll be back at Mercedes versus Tony is where we're at in the show. So, what did you think of All In?
I'm sure you've seen things or whatever, but I thought they knocked it right out of the park. It was, especially the end. The final match was so good.
Yeah,
so good. Excellent. It's been a long time since I've wanted to go back and rewatch a particular match.
It's on our. Yeah, I really can't wait till we go back and get to those matches.
Send them home happy. Holy crap! I haven't jumped off my couch for a thing or squeed like that in a really long time for something. I mean, they're really good pay-per-views usually, and they'll get me to like go or whatever. But I lost it. I lost my shit at the end of that show. I am unabashedly lost my shit at the end. It was awesome. I know that the 4-way was like not what everybody wanted, and I know that Dustin. I know.
Kyle Fletcher got robbed.
However, and I know this also. We had a lot of friends from here, even in our Fight Game Media friends, were in the building. And at one point during that 4-way. So when Adam Cole came out and made his announcement, that was necessary, but it was a giant buzzkill from the people in the building.
Yeah, I've heard the theory that the whole reason Dustin won was to send the fan to make the fans happy. But in doing that, you screw over a young talent with a 56-year-old veteran.
I don't think it's going to hurt Kyle because he's so liquid hot. I think he's going to get that belt in a couple weeks.
Hot. And like I don't like we've made it clear. I love Dustin Rhodes.
Of course.
He's great. And I get what they're doing. It was really nice to hear the comments he had during the scrum. Great. His promo last night I thought was really solid. But I don't think this was the right call. I did nothing against Dustin. And no, I don't think Dustin's going to hold it for a super long time. But the way Tony was talking about it, I see him holding it for a few defenses. I mean, yes, we did get Collision last night. Kyle Fletcher immediately was like, "You stole my moment," which is true. He stole his moment.
But they should make it square. That's the best way to do it because they can lean into the bullshit that's already out there about it and they can make a story out of it. And I actually think for a change, this was he had to make a tough decision in a situation like that. And I think it was the right move. I think that him giving it to Dustin, giving Dustin a couple of defenses, having him and Kyle go after it, make it look like, give him a little run. The guy's never had the belt before.
Which, I mean, so those things, yes. But on the other hand, Dustin doesn't need 3 titles at the age of 56.
Well, that's
when we just complained about Chris Jericho and the things that he has done. And then Jeff Jarrett trying to insert himself in the title picture. But then you're going around and you're doing the exact same thing with Dustin. Like, I get both arguments. Like, again, I love Dustin Rhodes. I think he's an incredible wrestler. And like the one hand, I'm really happy for him. And I'm glad he's finally getting this TNT title because I think he deserves it. But on the other hand, this is the same shit that keeps happening with you putting these men in their 50s over your younger guys and you're holding. And so like, I get both sides and I go back and forth. I go back and forth. And again, it's nothing against Dustin Rhodes because out of all of those people, Dustin is the one I'd like to see with the title. I'd rather him have it than Chris Jericho or Jeff Jarrett.
Absolutely.
But that man doesn't need 3 titles, especially when he's barely defending the 2 ROH he has. And last night he's like, I'm going to be a fighting champion. And I'm like, bro, you barely defend the other 2 you have. What about those? And I know like we're done with Texas. There's no reason for Sons of Texas to have those tag team titles. It felt the fucking infantry already. You killed your other tag team momentum with other teams. Stop. And I don't think they're going to take the trios off of them and the Von Erichs because I think when Dustin loses the title, he's still going to have one, and I think it'll be the one with the Von Erichs. But so now is he just going? I guess because they've moved Death. So last night they announced they moved Death Before Dishonor again. Yeah. So instead of being September the 5th, it is now August the 29th. I'm hoping he at least drops the tag team titles.
Yeah.
By then. I mean, and I get where you're saying, and those are all valid points, and I get it. And I am, like, on the one hand, I'm super happy for Dustin, because if anybody deserves
because
it,
I
is a guy like
the
Dustin.
ROH side of things, because I'm not watching ROH.
But see, and so
it's a little bit of a blind spot for me, because I
get it, and I totally get that, and
that's not Dustin's fault either. That's Tony's fault.
No, that's not Dustin's fault, but it also screws
or
Kyle.
Whatever.
And I don't. That's not fair to. And yes, I think Kyle will eventually, they'll make things right, and Kyle will get it. And I just feel like, and I get it. You want the bait. You want to give them the feel good moment. He got, apparently, from, I saw somebody talking about that was in the audience, and the tweet came up, and they said one of the biggest pops of the night was Dustin winning the title, which I get it. I'm happy for it. Again, I'm happy for him. But on the other hand, like, we are continuing some of the same patterns that we were doing last year, where Jericho kept being in the title picture when he had no business being in it, and he's pushing down younger talent. And then you do the same thing, and then you have Jeff Jarrett trying to put himself in title pictures and things like that. So I go back and forth, because I mean, it is what it is. Dustin has the title. I am happy for him. I'm sure he's going to have some good title defenses. I don't see him holding the belt like through the end of the year or anything like that, but they have got to drop those he's got to drop the ROH titles, at least the tag team titles, by Death Before Dishonor. And they've got to get, he does not need 3 titles when he barely defends the 2 he has. And part of that, yes, was because Sammy was injured for a bit. Then then, you know, the Von Erichs were injured, and they were trying to keep it on it just for the Texas shows, which is why I don't understand. Again, I've talked about this, is why they didn't just strip them of the titles, then have them win it back at All In, or do interim champions, and then you have the interim champion wrestle them at All In. They get their Texas moment, and you get that. But now we're done with Texas, Tony, so there's no reason to keep the belts on them. You know what? I guess good for Dustin. Maybe I should just stop complaining and just.
Maybe they'll make okay. I mean, it sounds like the Adam Cole thing came pretty fast, because nobody really.
It did.
It almost seemed like they were literally waiting for the test results, and they came in that day.
Well, Tony said in the media scrum that he was fine because the match happened Thursday at Collision. Thursday night he was fine. All day Friday, he was planned to be in the match. Then late Friday night into early Saturday morning, he told Tony, I don't know that I can wrestle. Then literally right before the show started, he got the information and was getting ready. Like, he was going out there with the intent to retire. And somebody was like, I don't know if it was Tony, if it was Roddy and Kyle, or maybe all 3 of them were like,
calm down.
Let's hold on. And because my guess is because his previous concussions were so bad that he's talked about, that I would not be surprised if his doctors were like, if you get one more concussion, like that,
you can die.
So I don't know if that's why he was so hasty and potentially asking or potentially announcing his retirement. So I'm glad that he kind of put a pin in it, but that also very much felt like a goodbye. And I will not be surprised if he never wrestles again. I just got that feeling from, and I know it's because he doesn't know for sure. And if he is going to go, then he got to say what he needed to say. And then, I mean, like, he was like heartbreaking to watch, but then to watch Roddy and Kyle react to them just broke my heart. And then you have Daniel Garcia come out. And I didn't notice it the first time, I think, because I was watching on my phone, but we rewatched it. You can see Daniel, I'm pretty sure, say to him that I have your back. And then somebody else was telling me that it sounded like he said, I'll make you proud. And I was just like, oh my God. Like, it was just really emotional. So in that aspect, yes, Dustin winning does help lift the pay-per-view back up. Like you said, it was kind of a buzzkill being.
Well, and it was kind of funny because Kevin Ely during that whole thing was like, they should just give the belt to Dustin just to make the fans happy. And he was just saying that kind of in casual in the Discord thread that we had going on. And it was like, it did make me think about it because they were saying that it was terrible, and then they said it was like a funeral in the building. It was terrible.
And I can imagine. So, like, I get it, but
and
I think we all know. And Dustin is. I mean, at least they didn't put it on Sammy, but I felt that Kyle it screwed Kyle. I mean, of course, it's unfortunate. Adam Cole obviously was not trying to do anything, but it takes that moment away from Kyle because it was very clear that Kyle was going to win that title Saturday. And so now he's not getting the match he thought he was getting hours before the pay-per-view, which obviously, understandably, why has not like an MJF Wardlow situation where MJF is being an asshole and is holding out, screwing him out of the biggest match of his career. It's not like that, but it's unfortunate. And then Kyle gets told, hey, you're not having this match. You're now getting to be in a 4-way and you're not winning the title today. Yeah. We're giving it to Dustin Rhodes, which again, Dustin Rhodes has a ton of respect from people. So maybe Kyle, I'm not going to speak for Kyle because I don't know what he thinks. Maybe he's like, you know what? Fine, do it. I don't care. But, and I can still run with this heel stuff. And they did a really good segment last night. And, you know, Dustin is really I think and I've talked about this before, he's really underrated on the mic. I think he's really good. And I just, I don't see him holding it for a very long time, but also like, some people had the theory that like he was just going to lose it on Wednesday night. And I was like, I don't think they're going to do, I guess it would have been Thursday because the TNT title.
No, because then it would have looked literally like they were doing.
Yeah, exactly.
So totally delegitimize. They can't delegitimize the belt that hard. I mean, that's just a big, that's like, who cares about this title? They can't do that. I mean,
right. Especially because they're trying to, make, because, for a while, the TNT title was, on the same level. I mean, now that's what the unified title is supposed to be for Okada, who now has Don Callis carrying the other two titles. Yeah, I'm thinking, Jermaine, I kind of think that might be what they do too, that Kyle Fletcher wins it All Out. Excuse me. I don't know how they get away from not because we still have, it's July 20th. That's exactly 2 months from today because it's September the 20th. We've got Forbidden Door in between. It's not a Forbidden Door match. But
I like it on All Out. I think that's a great match
extend it. All Out. But I think they can give him some title defenses to make that happen and make it work.
John Callis is
supposed to be, and I kind of have that thing too that it is supposed to be for the young studs, and I get that because that's kind of what the title is supposed to be, is to prepare you for potentially prepare you for a world championship. So I get that too. But then also you had it on Brody Lee, and Brody Lee is one of the greatest TNT champions ever. So I get both arguments. Brad said Dusty is one of my dad's favorites ever, and he loves Dustin. So he was saying the moment the match started, Dustin should win. He was ecstatic when Dustin won. Oh no, I'm sure he was, and I'm glad he got that. And again, like, I'm torn because I legitimately am a fan of Dustin Rhodes. I really love him, but also I really love Kyle Fletcher, and I get the argument of you're doing more of the same by allowing these veterans to take these spots from these younger guys, because we saw what Chris Jericho keeps doing, and now you're turning around and doing it with Dustin Rhodes. And Kyle has a rocket strapped to him. And yes, you're right, Kyle, it's probably not going to hurt him to lose to Dustin Rhodes. And it was a 4-way match on top of that. And I'm sure he was just selling it really well. But looking at Kyle's face after the match was over with and Dustin won and he did not, just that face, maybe it's just the good actor, but it just, you could feel it, just, he looked incredibly disappointed that that moment was not his. And I felt for him. And again, it was a situation that, is not something anybody wanted to be in. It is a last minute thing. It was a day of thing. But I felt like Kyle just looked hurt and disappointed that moment's not happening for him now.
He's winning it when he does.
Yeah, I think it will. And I think Dustin will put him over, because Dustin's good at that. And so at least it's that. But it's just,
yeah, I know.
It's just the whole situation just sucks so much.
I knew you weren't gonna like it. I was like, no matter what
I was driving and I got a text that said, "Holy shit." And I asked what happened, and they said Dustin won. And I think I told Nikki, I think I said, "What the fuck?" I think is what I said to her. And then again, and I
picture you. I must have heard you say it in the, because I was like, I can almost hear you saying it in my head.
Yeah. And again,
I think Bob will back me up here. I think I looked at him and went, Sam is not going to like this outcome.
No. And again, it's not Dustin. He's
no,
not
of course
reason.
not.
It's everything around it has nothing to do with Dustin.
It's all about the booking. It's these guys are doing what they're doing their jobs.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're right. You know, I know Dustin, if they're going to give it to any veteran, I'd rather it be Dustin than Chris Jericho.
Certainly.
Absolutely. Yeah, and TK was like, we're in Texas with the title on the Texan because it'll be a feel good all in this year. I like the feel good bookings, but more broadly. Like, I get it. I get both sides of it. And so I'm really torn because like I thought Dustin cut a really good promo, and listening to him talk in the media scrum, like you could hear how happy he was and how much it meant to him to have Tony's support, and I'm sure to hear the fans because they were, you know, in Texas, and maybe if this had been elsewhere, he may not have had quite the same reaction. I mean, I feel like Dustin's pretty beloved everywhere, but obviously in his home state, and like, so I get both. I get it, but I also just like I hate it for Kyle, but.
I figure they have a big, huge match at All Out, and Dustin puts him over giant. And at the end of the whole thing, the two of them either shake hands or give each other a big hug and have one of those moments, and then it's perfect.
Yeah, and Brad kind of says the same thing, that it might help Kyle more in the long run, beating the beloved Dustin, bloodying him up so he can't show up for a few months. The heat will be huge. And Don Callis last night was like, "You're going to need somebody to look after you."
Well, and that's the other thing is everything in Don Callis. You can come
join the Don Callis family. I was like, the Don Callis family is going to be as big as Bullet Club with their 98 members.
But he's kind of like everything in his orbit is kind of working out to the advantage of storytelling, because Don Callis is he's so good at what he does.
Yeah. I mean, they certainly made it work for sure.
I think that
considering it was a last minute choice, and they made that work last night.
Well, and they're making it into a story, which is what you should do, because already the internet is speculating about it. We don't know the exact true story. We're all like, we don't know 100% of what happened. So they can lean into that for their storyline and make that part of Kyle really ascending.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm hopeful that they just like sort of lean into that. I think if they're letting Don Callis kind of take the lead on this is where he would excel because of his experience versus like pay attention, Tony, instead of trying to, like, in a good way. Don Callis is a buttload of experience. The guy's been around forever. He's like, people are starting to compare him to like Paul Heyman and stuff in the way that he has the massive influence. And I know it's like a weird name, but it's, if you think about influence, strictly influence, not personality, not crap on the internet, Paul Heyman did and still does have a ginormous effect on wrestling and booking and how things went. And notwithstanding his carny predilections, he is a giant piece of the way that wrestling looks today. So.
Yeah, agreed. I've seen people talking about it and think, what did you think about Athena being the one to win the gauntlet match? Do you think that was the right call?
I wasn't sure until I saw last night's Dynamite and Collision, and I saw Tony and Athena interacting, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think that match is going to be a lot of fun.
Of course, that was my prediction, was Athena was going to win it. I think that was the right call. Because I saw somebody last night was saying that they weren't sure that Athena beats Tony, but I don't think you have her win to cash in.
I think she beats Tony.
Yeah, I think she absolutely beats Tony. I think you can't have her win. I think MJF is winning the title too. I think that both, that's why they put it on. But that's why MJF and Athena won. They're both going to be champions at some point whenever they decide to cash it in. And Tony said, because of course somebody asked, so, you know, like, how does this work with the contract? Like, do we, because I don't think they're going to do like with Christian when he had it and then it ended up going, you know, Moxley took it from him or whatever. Like, I don't think it's going to be, or no, it was Darby that was the one that John Moxley took it away from, right? So he got the title match.
I think so.
Grand Slam.
Yeah, I think so.
Like, I don't think that's happening here. And I think you have to follow through here. And so Tony said that the champions have earned a say in when they cash them in, which is impossible.
Athena's a big personality. Tony Storm's a big personality. They clearly have it in them to do a program after last night, if you ask me. I'm the only balcony bitch in this business is one of my favorite lines ever uttered. Great. And that girl, she never ceases to say something that pops me. She's amazing.
No. Oh, she's
that
incredible.
was the greatest line of the weekend. I was like, I love you so much.
She's so great. Again, and that's why I say, like, part of me wants her to hold the title forever because I love her. But on the other hand, we're getting into bloodline territory. It's been more than 2 years.
I think Athena's going to be really popular with people now that she's out from behind the paywall, and her and Tony going after it. If last night is any indication of what those two can start to do, and we know they can do it, and like we know they can work in the ring.
Yeah,
that's going to be a tight match. I'm excited for that. Let's go.
Yeah.
Those
and I heard that too, Crash. That so Tony is wrestling Billy Starks on Wednesday.
Right.
If Billy wins, she gets the title shot. And I am wondering if they're gonna have Billy win and have her get a title shot at Tony before Athena does. I don't think clearly she's not winning it, but
right.
To make this, because they are not going to do that. I don't see this match happening at Forbidden Door.
Just to taunt her.
They've got to make this last. We've got 2 months before All Out.
Yeah, at least.
And so you've got to keep them apart for a bit to make. And so you've got Athena doing kind of a little bit of the, the chicken shit hill stuff where she's like, I'm not going to sign this. And she like runs through the crowd and, all this stuff and like doesn't really want to, which Athena's been doing in ROH. She kept ducking Thunder Rosa leading up to their stuff. So this is kind of on brand for Athena. And so I could see.
But only 12 people have seen it.
Yes. So I think that I could see Billy, and I don't think Billy versus Tony is happening at Forbidden Door either, but I could see them doing Tony and Billy first, and maybe Billy wins, and you've got to get it because you've got to give them time. I think All Out is the right call, and I think you are correct about doing. I mean, this is where the women main event is in Toronto at All Out, and Athena beats Tony in the main event.
I think so.
I
think that finally shook out. I don't think it was necessarily what they planned, but I think things worked out great for them, and they're in an awesome position. And like you said, Athena's been doing this. She's been doing it in a place that no one's seen it. She came out last night. She's already over with people. She's been over for a long time. People have been buying the ROH pay-per-views to see her wrestle on ROH pay-per-views. Like, that is happening. But having her out there with Tony is going to be awesome because she's perfected. She's doing her own version of dominating the women's division in ROH that Tony's doing in AEW. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think
it makes more sense once you saw it play out than it would have made sense necessarily before that. But
yeah,
now I'm like, let's go.
And so now that they've moved Death Before Dishonor up a week, she will be at Athena will now be at 993 days as champion. And somebody was asking, they were like, well, do you think she's going to lose at Death Before Dishonor? And I was like, no, you cannot get her 7 days away from 1,000-day milestone and make her drop that title. I don't see that happening. Tony likes his milestones. We saw what happened with Jade Cargill. He kept her until she got to 500 days, and he likes to do these. She's already surpassed all of the men as far as title reigns go. I think she wins at Death Before Dishonor, and then you get her to her 1,000-day mark the following Friday because it's now exactly a week earlier. And then I really, really hope they're not going to have her vacate. But Nikki thinks that might be what they're doing, is because that's what Samoa Joe did. He won the title and then vacated it. I don't want her to do that, only because that's what happened to her and Asuka in NXT. And you've been building this up for 3 years. There's no reason that you don't have her drop that title to someone else to run that division. I don't think having her vacate and then having them win a vacated title is the move. But could I see that happening? Yes, because
she should put somebody over. That makes
I would prefer. I mean, of course, I know
what you're saying.
I hope it with Billy twice. If it's not going to be Billy, Queen Aminata is still my pick because Queen Aminata can, and I know it's the AEW title, but yes, but it is the AEW women's title. But the woman who's held it has held it for 3 years. She's going into 1,000 days to be the woman to beat that person, and then to make that title their own. That's huge, and I don't think you can just vacate that and have somebody win it. Like I think she deserves to drop it. To somebody, and for that women's division who have not been able to take that title from her, they deserve somebody who can beat her. For like, you need to have somebody definitively beat Athena to own that title. Like, they can't just win it in a vacated situation. It would mean more to have somebody beat Athena, and if it's not going to be Billy, then I think Aminata is the best choice, because Aminata is incredible. And my other choice obviously would be Trish Adora, but she was injured for a little bit and now she's back, and then I'm wondering, and she's going to be competing for the pure title whenever that tournament starts. Trish is in that, so I'm assuming it's not going to, but you know what, actually I think Queen Aminata is in that too, so who the hell knows. I thought, and so somebody, and I don't know, but now I don't know I thought her opponent for Death Before Dishonor was going to be Shuri, because she debuted last week. That is Athena's dream match. She has been talking about that match forever. But then a few days after Shuri was in that, she has been dealing with an elbow injury, and she needs surgery.
I saw Scotty Wrestling tweeted this morning that she is going to be out with that injury now. So
yeah, she's supposed to be having surgery on that elbow. So now I don't know who they're gonna. And now that they bumped it up, it's very interesting that they bumped that pay-per-view up a week, and I can't figure out what's happening. And then that pay-per-view is 4 days after Forbidden Door. So Forbidden Door is the 24th, and then the 29th is now that. And so, it's kind of everything with ROH is up in the air, but I just don't see how you get Athena to 993 and then make her drop it. That's just ridiculous. But Brad had a theory about MJF, which was interesting, that he thinks that, let me find the comment, that Athena is going to win, but thinks MJF is going to lose, then blame the Hurt Syndicate, and that starts their breakup story. Which is certainly possible. Especially because our prediction did not come true of Ospreay and Swerve.
Right.
So now they are not blocked for a year from that title like we thought. But Swerve is now in the picture with Okada. Okada called him out, which I think is going to be an excellent feud.
Yes, please.
And I think it's the feud that Okada needs. And if we're legitimizing this title as being on the same wavelength or the same importance, then Okada wrestling Swerve for it makes a ton of sense. And Tony did confirm during the conference call, or the media scrum, or the media call. I think it was the media call. He confirmed the C2 is going to continue. And that they will have the C2. He said he'll talk about it when it gets closer to the tournament, but the C2 is still happening. And the lineage stays intact for both titles, even though it is now technically unified and 3 belts are there. It was just a mess. And he said during the media call, I created this title because I wanted something special for Omega Okada. But they can choose to carry the new title or all 3 titles. And so it makes sense that Don Callis is carrying 2 titles while Okada carries the one. And, I was surprised that Okada won, but it also makes a ton of sense because the whole reason Okada and Callis aligned was so that Callis could get back at Kenny because he hates him now. And Okada needed Don Callis to help him beat him because we saw it. Kenny Omega had that match won. He hit the one-winged angel and Don pulled him out of the ring, and that made the match continue. So they've also left it open that they could potentially do Omega Okada 6 if, depending on Omega's health, if they have the opening there if they want to do it. If Omega feels healthy enough at some point to do it again, it's there. But I was like, I thought I was convinced that Kenny was going to win, but I think Okada was the right call.
When I started to realize who had the numbers advantage, I went, Okada's going to win this because Kenny has the numbers advantage out of the series right now.
Yeah.
And if this is the last time they get to wrestle, it makes sense to even it up. And if it's not, then somebody gets the tiebreaker.
Right.
Essentially.
Because
one was a draw and then Kenny won, I'm getting it right. It was like Kenny won 2, Okada won 1 in a draw, and there was the draw. So,
I think that's yes, I believe that.
And so that made it so that Okada won 2, Kenny won 2, and they had a draw.
Tie. Right.
So it balances it out. And as I was sitting there doing just sports numbers in my head because of sports storytelling, I was just like, oh, he's got to win this. Especially if it's the last time, because then it's literally sealed. And if they do get to do the tiebreaker, awesome. But we just don't know.
No, and I think they don't know either. So they're giving an opening to it. If it comes, if they eventually do it, then they've got a way to go back to it because Kenny was screwed out of the title by Don Callis. And Don Callis keeps saying Kenny is dead. Which I assumed Kenny was going to take some time off after this because we knew going in that he was going to be putting Kenny Omega is going to go into as Kenny Omega. He's not going to half-ass anything, especially against Okada in a series that means so much to so many fans. And so I had a feeling he was going to take time off, and then it came out this week that he is taking time off. Will Ospreay is also taking time off. They didn't say how long, but Ospreay is also taking time off as well. And so you've got those, and then so but I think taking the time off makes sense because you can sell it as Okada killed Omega and he's out of there for a while, and then you can have this great build up, and then Kenny can be healthy and all, and that. So what did you think as far as the match itself in the whole, like in the series of matches they had? Do you think it lived up to it? Was it its own thing? What are your thoughts about that?
I thought it was really good. I thought they did a great job. I don't think it is going to be my favorite one in the series, but I think for what it was, and they did a lot of near falls, and they were definitely, they brought it. I didn't think that it fit in the series. Would I say it's my favorite? No, because the draw is kind of my favorite of all time, but it was exactly what it could have been and should have been in the series of this.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed it in the moment, but I that's one of the reasons I want to go back and rewatch it is just to kind of see it, I just want to watch it again because I really enjoyed the match. I thought it was really good. I still go back and forth on, and I loved Hangman versus Moxley, and I'm gonna go back and watch Bandito versus Takeshita because I still think that might be my match of the weekend because it was incredible. And I think that still, as much as I love Moxley, Hangman, and Omega, Okada, and Tony Mercedes, I think that's still probably my match of the weekend because it was just incredible. Like it had no business being as good as it was.
Yeah, it was great.
But I thought it was a good match. I do want to go back and watch it in that sense. And yes, the Young Bucks losing as the EVPs makes so much sense. So they don't have to be EVPs on TV, and
now they have to go make friends.
Wednesday was
everybody over.
Yes, Wednesday was perfect.
Yes, it was.
They don't have their pyro. Their new video is them getting beat, and then it's just their name and Comic Sans. Like, it's so funny. And they always change their bio. And so now it was talking, the most recent one that I saw was they were talking about how the company card keeps getting declined.
So there are a bunch of marks, and I only use that word because they were acting that way on the socials, because the Young Bucks have done this for years, they also went on the AEW websites and removed themselves from the website entirely.
Yes, and it was originally put that Swerve and Will Ospreay were EVPs on the website, and they're like, and Swerve tweeted, he's like, I'm not an EVP, and it's just, but they're selling it like, it makes sense. I was surprised because I thought the Ospreay Swerve story made a lot of sense to away from the titles for a year. However, I think that Nikki and I were talking about, I think Matt and Nick just didn't want to be EVPs on TV anymore.
Yeah, agree.
And they've done, and Nikki was like, that's because I was thinking like beforehand, I was like, it's kind of weird that they didn't wait to do the Founding Fathers next year so they could do the 7 years and, 7 years ago, because next year will be 7 years. But then Nikki was like, I guess because they knew that they were going to lose the EVP titles, that they went ahead, like this was the way they did it. And so and they're Nick and Matt now, like they corrected, like Justin Roberts corrected himself. And I love when he was like, they used to be AEW EVPs and now they're not. Like, just this whole thing has been perfect. I love it so much. And these are like, I know that some of the Young Bucks can be divisive for whatever reason, but I love them. I think they're great at what they do. I think they're one of the best tag teams out there, and I really, really enjoyed them doing this. And I thought that, I thought it was really well done the way that they did it. And
I liked it a lot.
And and I thought Tony and Mercedes, I thought it was incredible. I loved Mercedes coming out with the names of all the women she's beaten on her coat.
Pretty cool.
Which was really that's such a flex. Like,
it was cool. It was really cool.
Talk your shit on your jacket. But also to come at being that egotistical and then losing to Tony made it just even better, because like she just thought she was going to add Tony's name to that jacket, and it's not happening. And at least not now. And so I thought I really enjoyed the match. I thought it could have gone either way. But I thought the match was very, very good. I knew that they would live up to, I knew that they'd go up to the hype. And, I would be interesting to see how Mercedes is going to react to this. Because, she still has their other belts to defend. But losing to Tony definitely got to hurt her ego a lot.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm really interested to see Brad, I can't believe Mercedes would use her creative control to make sure Tony beat her to retain the AEW Women's Championship.
She
used her creative control to lose her very first match in AEW.
Yeah,
her singles match in AEW, she booked herself to lose.
Yeah.
Why would she do that? Jermaine had a really interesting point. I don't think this is what's happening, but he says everyone is forgetting about Statlander. I can see Statlander, with the help of the Death Riders, getting involved in that title picture, screwing over Tony and Athena to become the new world champion, and I would hate that. Athena should not, with as long as it's taken to get Athena on TV, to screw her out of a title shot would not gain a lot. There will be a lot of ill will towards Tony if that happens. Stat is super over and super popular, and people want to see her as champion. But to screw over Athena to make it happen, I don't think would be the right call. I guess if you're making Stat a heel, which didn't really work the last time. There's something happening there clearly with the Death Riders and Stat, and I can't figure out what it is. But I really have got to get Stat away from Willow. It's getting old. It's getting tired. All she does is whine about how they're not friends anymore. Please find a new. We've been doing this for how long now? Like, Chris needs something else to do. Willow needs. We separated Hangman and Swerve for a bit. I said it last week. Separate Stat and Willow. We've seen it. Let them. I need her to stop whining all the time about it. Fine. Chris is too good to be dealing with. That's her gimmick right now. Is I lost my friend, and yes, it is her fault that Willow and Stat are no longer friends. And Crash the Stat's building a program with Willow, another program like the last one, but I can't get enough of Willow and Stat. Like, I really enjoy it, but I feel like it's like they need to do something else for a little bit and then come back to it. I feel like it's just they're stuck in neutral with this. Like, give Chris something else to do. Let her go fight some other people and then come back to, you said, I clearly see they're setting stuff up, but good Lord. It's just, we've been doing this. It's Swerve and Hangman, but, in their story. And I would just prefer for them to fight, especially because that's the current Pro Wrestling Eve champion. Like, and I guess they're not going to have her hold that, bring that title. It's not like with Mercedes where she's having that title on TV, but like give her somebody else to feud with for a little bit and then come back to it, please. Or speed up the storyline a little bit, because Chris doesn't need to be just, that's all her personality can't be. I don't have Willow as a friend anymore because I was the bad friend first.
Right.
Please give Chris something better to do. But something I am really interested to see where this Death Riders Yuta stuff is going. And Yuta keeps telling her, leave Willow behind, find something else to focus on. You keep focusing on her and you can't move forward, which is correct. Listen to your friend Wheeler Yuta.
Yeah. Listen to that little guy. He, that little shit heel can be actually kind of smart once in a while. So.
Right. Especially because he's your friend and he's known you for so long. And they were like, somebody was talking about they're workout partners too.
Oh,
like,
that's cute.
That have the relation, who
right
got
on.
a long time thing, which is cool. Crash says AEW booking is like a cubist painting with all the angles that at the minute. I for one dig the cubist approach though, makes it more interesting. Delivery has to be good though. Yes, the delivery definitely has to be good, and I think it'll get there. Like, I have enough faith in AEW for the most part. There's only been a few stories that have really been bad, so I will give them.
They can't all be winners.
No, but I like the fact that the Death Riders are like, we knew that the Death Riders were not going to just go away because Jon Moxley lost the title. Like, they're still going to be jerks. And so to have the spot last night where Mox put Colt Cabana in the same move that Hangman beat him with was really smart. To have it be Colt Cabana in Chicago when he is a fan favorite there. He's friends with Hangman. Like, it made a lot of sense to do that. And so now, like, unhinged Mox, who has lost his title and was tapped out because he was getting choked out, like, he's going to be mad. And like, I'm glad that they're still like the Death Riders were not going to disband because he lost the title. So they've got to keep things interesting. So that the fact that they're still being violent and things like that, and probably now even more so because Jon Moxley lost his title, but Hangman winning was 1,000% the right call.
Oh yeah.
Even though we've talked about, Will Ospreay was originally supposed to be in this spot, Hangman was the right call here.
Yeah.
That moment was incredible, and
awesome.
I so happy for him, and I think that and we did get the return of Darby briefly, and he did he did do his coffin drop like I figured he would, but I think having Danielson in the Blue Panther mask,
that was my favorite thing in the whole world.
It's so funny. I did wish the Sting was there, but it still worked.
Oh, it was awesome. I was so excited at the end. Yeah. It was such a great ending.
Yeah, they did a really
they nailed it. They stuck the landing hard.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, and then God, I'm so glad that Juice Robinson is back. I popped so hard when he came out.
Yeah, I was very excited.
And I heard the music and I was like, that's Juice. And then it's been a very long time since Juice was clean shaven. It's been a long time
since he was like a young lion, basically.
Then he's making me a little nervous because he's cutting this promo and he's talking about how he's not going to be peeing on opponents anymore, which I'm glad for because I was not a fan of that. Probably but then he says, and I was like, and he was saying he's going to be more focused. Great. But I need like the Juice promos because Juice is, even before his Wild promos, like in New Japan, he was cutting incredible promos. And like Kevin Owens said, like at the time that Juice is the best promo in the business. Like when he was the US champ, when he was the IWGP US champion and he was cutting the promos he was cutting, like the man can still cut them. And then you see last night the segment where he and Big Bill, was it Big Bill? that they went at it backstage, and you kind of hear Juice coming out a little bit. So I hope he's still in there a little bit, but I am so happy he's back. But then unfortunately, it sounds like Colton Gunn got injured at the Collision taping. And the Guns obviously just came back as well. They came out to help Juice against Gates of Agony. They were in the 4-way tag team match, but at the taping, Colton had to be helped to the back. I haven't heard an update since. hopefully it's nothing too serious, but just the poor Bang Bang Gang cannot catch a break. So I hate that, but I'm so happy Juice is back. Yes, Juice and Big Bill back. Yeah, I like that. By one thing that I was annoyed with was Brian Keith wrestled. He's clearly healthy. He was at Starrcast, but did not get the wrestle All In. And he's from Texas. So I was like, because at first I was like, well, maybe he's just injured and he was just at Starrcast because he's not injured. Like maybe he's injured enough that he can't wrestle, but he's not injured enough that he can't walk around on his own. Then I see him in a match on Collision. So I was like, so he could have wrestled in Texas in his home state and he just didn't do that? And I was like, poor Brian Keith. But I thought he and Big Bill looked great last night. Yes, Jay White is still injured, and it sounds like from what was reported recently, his injury is worse than they thought, and he may also be dealing with some other injuries. So there is, from what they're saying, there's not a clear timetable for his return. So it's just going to be Juice and the Guns. But now Colton might be injured, so maybe Juice is just doing the singles program, and then I don't know if they'll keep Austin off TV until Colton is back, depending on what the injury is. I mean, maybe I haven't heard it. And so maybe he's just, I don't know if he's just like twisted an ankle or something like that, or if it's something more serious, but you know, I hate that. Yeah. Big Bill got a huge pop in Chicago. And they were talking about how like he got that huge, like I'll still never forget that huge pop he got in Europe last year. Mm-hmm. But yes, I'm trying to think. We talked about, let's see. And we did talk about Shuri, but then we had Alex Windsor she made a pay-per-view debut. She's been in AEW before. So we now have Alex Windsor. She wrestled last night. She looked really great. Megan Bain beat Ty Mello. That was a pretty solid match. So this women's division has got some really, really good women. We just have to figure out what to do with all of them. And it does sound, I saw about I guess somebody asked Fightful about women's tag titles again, and like, you know, if we'll see them, and he was saying kind of what I've been saying, that maybe not this year, but it seems like they are testing out teams. And I was like, wow, that's what Mel and I have been saying for weeks now. That seems like they're testing out teams, figuring out, you know, who works, who do the fans like. Now it seems like we have a faction with Tekla, Julia, and Sky, because Julia and Sky were wearing matching shirts, and then they did some stuff with Tekla. So that appears that we've got, you know, maybe a trios with them, and we just have a women's faction, which is nice to see, because I don't think we've not really had one since the Outcasts. I don't think we've really had a women's faction, so it's nice to see, and I think that's a fun one. I like the three of them together. I also was disappointed that Eddie Kingston's not returning, but I know he's been trying. The original date for him was sometime in August. I still think he can go for Jon Moxley. They don't have to have a title for that feud, because you're working with my arch nemesis is a pretty good reason for Eddie Kingston to get mad. Yeah. It doesn't take much for Eddie to get mad. Jermaine says Mercedes might be off of AEW TV for a while because she has the title match at Rev Pro next Friday, then the Rev Pro anniversary show before Forbidden Door, so she might not be away for a while. Yeah, I had forgotten, because I think Lyric had said a few weeks ago that she thought Mercedes would lose the Rev Pro title at the anniversary show, which I definitely could see happening. And it kind of goes with, okay, she couldn't beat Tony. Now she's losing her Rev Pro title, you know, and she starts losing these titles one by one. And then the TBS title is it. And I still think she hits her 500 days there. And Brad said, love that Tekla is with Julia and Sky. There's multiple women's stories that don't revolve around the title, which thank goodness, because we need more of those. And yes. Oh, but Sky, you said Sky gets to work with her work wife, Queen Aminata, told her she was filing for divorce from her after she misted her. Oops.
I guess there's going to be a hotel room spat that night.
Crash said, did I miss who? I might have missed who Crash was talking about. Oh, Big Bill. Okay. I was like, wait, who was he talking? So Crash says Big Bill gets such a great reaction. He reminds me of what he could be like the next Diesel / Kevin Nash, but with an actual solid work rate and a million times better he can move. And the squads don't blow out. Knock on wood, don't want to curse Big Bill, but
please don't. Yeah.
Yes, Nikki says for Eddie, just talk about his mom, and that's all you got to do to kickstart a feud, but you'll probably die.
True story.
Start a feud and die.
Yeah.
Ty Mello had a great match with Athena on Collision. Yeah, and Ty looked really good. I thought she looked good against Megan Bain last night as well. So it looks good to have. Yeah, these women are really kicking it into a high gear. And again, we've talked about it, but I don't know where a Britt Baker fits in with this current roster.
I'm fine. I'm fine without it right now. Lester Emma, from everything I can tell.
Yeah, that for sure.
For whatever reason, I'm not blaming anybody for anything.
I did hear that Mercedes was super, super happy with her match with Tony, especially because her match with Britt was 1 year ago, and to have the validation of having a really good match at the biggest show of the year, or one of the biggest shows of the year. I'm glad she feels validated, because that match was really, really great. And I thought her and Tony killed it. Listen, Curryhead, we got to get these women to main event a damn pay-per-view before we can get. Oh, wait, you said if our first women's. I read that as when are we getting an all women's pay-per-view? And I was like, wait a minute. So that's my fault.
Hopefully
I misread
soon.
that. Mel, I'm going to go with Mel's prediction. Mel predicted a few weeks ago that perhaps it's that all out, because you need big matches for all out. All in obviously used to be a week apart. Then I think it was 2 weeks apart. Now we're 2 months apart. A little over 2 months. But I think Mel is right. I think that's the time to do it, because I don't think they're going to do it at Wrestle Dream. Then you've got Full Gear, and then you've got World's End.
Mm-hmm.
So. And LaRon has made very good points about Tony deserves the main event while she's still champion. I don't think Toni Storm is going to end the year as women's champion. I think she's going to lose it before then.
Yeah,
and if we're doing both of these things, with her winning the title, main eventing while she has the title, and then she's probably not going to hold it much longer. I mean, all out makes the most sense. I think Mel is correct. I agree with. Mel said that, and I've latched onto it.
I'm glad. It kind of made more sense once Athena won. I was like, this seems like Tony's winning, and this is what's going to happen, and that's going to be what really goes down.
Yeah, I think.
Yes. Maria, I'm coming after you about those tag titles.
Maria will answer you.
Someone's always going to ask us on here. It's got to be one of you is always just going to ask.
Hey, that's okay. We appreciate it, though.
We love you.
We're glad that you're interacting with us. TK deserves a lot of credit for how he's bolstered the women's division. It has taken him a long time and a lot of yelling at him and writing about it, asking him questions about it, but he's finally getting it there. And again, it still has its flaws. Like we always cautiously optimistic, it has its flaws, but it has improved drastically. And he's good. He's bringing in women that he's bringing in, like you've got Shuri and Tekla and Alex Windsor, and potentially Alba Fire sounds like she's potentially on her way in. We had Shuri momentarily. She's injured. Maybe they can work something. I mean, she wasn't going to sign full. Clearly, she's still Stardom, but I mean, they were going to have her in there and active. And so, and you've got Queen Aminata that they finally, they were pushing her. And then he's like, well, she was doing great. And then I had to have her step up. You could have just left her stepped up the whole time. She's incredible. And then you do have Deanna, who's not being used. And then you have Taya, which was such a weird thing so Taya and Deanna were doing the Vendetta, seemingly a women's tag team. And now, because of ROH, Taya has been with the MXM collection. Taya is on TV last night, comes out to the MXM collection's entrance, is carried to the ring by her husband and MXM collection. Deanna's nowhere to be found. I mean, Deanna was wrestling yesterday in GCW. She wrestled at, they had their big show at the ballpark in Coney Island. And so Deanna wrestled there last night. So Deanna is doing some dates with GCW. But like, you had this tag team and you're clearly building a tag team division. So what happened to the Vendetta? Like, what are we doing here? Maybe they'll figure it out. But since we are on the subject of tag titles, next year is my earliest guess. Because as we've mentioned before, it's too late in the year because you've got Forbidden Door, so you can't. Forbidden Door is New Japan AEW stuff. I mean, and it wouldn't make sense to build them there. They're likely going to have a tournament for the tag titles, but then you have the C2 in December, and I don't think they're going to do back-to-back tournaments. C2 is their big. C2 has become really big and really important to them, and it starts in December and goes into January. So my guess is sometime maybe in the spring. I mean, you've got the Owen Cup, so there's that. So I don't know if they do the Owen Cup and then the tournament, or maybe the tournament then the women's tournament then. I maybe the early part of next year at the earliest, but I don't see before that because I just don't think there's time.
I think you're
right. And I think they're trying to figure out which teams work together. I mean, like we see Penelope and Megan Bain. We've got Julia and Sky and now Tekla. And you've got Harley Cameron is now back in the mix. So you've got Anna Jay and Ty Mello and Anna and Harley. So like you've got that, and I think they're trying to figure out the dynamics of maybe they will put the Vendetta back together once they get more serious about it. But Deanna and Taya are also supposed to be competing for the ROH Pure Championship whenever that tournament starts. They are both in it. So I think they've got to get I think they're also going to get they've got to belt somebody for the Pure division as well, and then figure out the tag team titles. Brad says, I don't think AEW will do an all-women show. They have their pay-per-views planned out, and they're not going to add another one. They don't have the resources like WWE does with Netflix just to do them. An all-women's episode of TV is more likely. That's a fair point.
Makes sense, though.
But let's get them on. Let's get them to main event a pay-per-view. Yeah, Anna and Ty would be fun first tag team champions because they've tagged a lot before there was really anything going on.
You go.
Yeah. Lauren and Brad were talking about having them on YouTube. They have their contract and they can't just put them on YouTube. That's why Dark was canceled, was because of Warner Brothers. Yeah, Warner Brothers did not like that because they were an exclusive property. Lauren says that he doesn't like Taya and booking Taya to lose to Alex Windsor in 3 minutes is ridiculous with Taya's resume. I kind of had the same thought. Like I knew like Alex Windsor should be winning. She's one of your big women's names. Taya it's kind of like when they brought in Lady Frost and had her lose. Because Lady Frost is somebody who is very good, who has a great resume. So does Taya. Taya is not booked in AEW or ROH like the resume that she has. So I guess that's maybe why it didn't surprise me, but I felt like it should have gone longer. Yeah, I don't think they're going to do one right after Forbidden Door. I just don't think they have time. I mean, they could, but you'd have to do. I mean, if you do right after Forbidden Door, there's All Out, Wrestle Dream, and Full Gear, and then the C2 will be happening during World's End. So, I mean, I guess they could. I just feel like Tony.
I just hope they don't rush it. That's all.
I think
don't want them to rush
it. Year gives them more time.
There's no need to rush it.
Yes. Justice for Queen Amanada. Jermaine says, I don't see TK putting both women's titles on Athena. That doesn't make any sense. So either Athena makes it to 1,000 day. Yeah, she can do both because of the timing. Because she can win she can win. She'll hit 1,000 days on September the 5th. She can win now that Death Before Dishonor has been moved to August 29th. She can win there. Hit 1,000 days the following week. And then you don't have to make her wait and lose the title at Final Battle. Granted, Tony has never booked a title change on ROH television that was not at a pay-per-view. However, he could either change that or he can do what I don't like him to do. But he likes to put men's ROH titles on AEW pay-per-views. He could put Athena's pay-per-view title, her ROH title match on an AEW pay-per-view, and she could lose it then and then beat Toni Storm. So I think that she could do both. Because I don't see how I don't see how you get her 993 days to have her drop the title or have her win this gauntlet match to not be able to cash in and lose that. Like, you're setting Athena up for failure when people want Athena on TV. So I think they can do both. And I really just hope they don't make her vacate the title for all the reasons I said before. Lauren says, could they do some sort of a women's showcase during the C2, assuming there isn't a women's one? I think he will only focus on the C2. But you do need things to happen on Dynamite and Collision that are not C2. So perhaps, I just don't know what that would look like, because I feel like once Tony is dedicated to one thing, and that's the C2 is so loved and he loves it, I feel like that's his focus. Right or wrong, his tunnel vision is the C2, and that's it. Like, but he was booking really good television. Collision, that was the time where Collision was much better than Dynamite. Was the Collision show, not just the C2 matches, but the C2 matches helped because there were some really great C2 matches on there. But Collision was better than Dynamite at that time, or at least for me. Brad says that he wonders if Alex Windsor beats Athena for the ROH title on Wednesday or Saturday. I forget if it's for Dynamite or Collision. I wouldn't want to see it, but both women should be losing right now. It could end in a draw or a no DQ, but she should not lose her titles before 1,000 days, especially when she has been. I mean, of course things change, but Athena has been pushing Athena 1,000 for weeks now, and so I think that is the plan. Again, Tony has been kind of booking this thing weird with Athena anyway. So, but I don't think Alex Windsor is going to be winning a title right now. Yes, Brad said he said he loved that Tony put the all elite graphic for Tekla yesterday after saying she was on probation for 45 days from her actions in Stardom attacking President Okada, and Okada responded to Tony and was like, "Yes, she may look sweet, but she's not," and talking about how she spins her web or something. I don't know. It was really funny the way he worded it. And he was like, and then Tony said, "I'm sorry for your injuries." And he responded back to Tony. He was like, "Thank you. I hope that you don't get injured." So he kind of left it with, Tekla's a little dangerous. She might go after Tony. So I thought that was an interesting thing. I like that they did that too. I thought it was really well done. Let's see. So I think we got to most of the stuff from All In, other than, I do have notes. This is not specifically referring to the camera shot when Hangman, I thought that was really well done. They were going for the hill shot of Hangman coming out, and then they had to jerk the camera because Hangman was coming out of the babyface entrance before his match. Really well done. Other camera shots throughout the show drove me crazy. I mean, maybe part of it's because I was watching on my phone, but they would zoom out, and when you're watching on a cell phone, you miss things than being right up on the action. So I was like, maybe once it was on TV, it wasn't so bad. Some of those camera angles during All In were killing me. I was like, what? I don't know.
Doing? It was like, I watched it on a ginormous TV, so.
Yeah, so going back, I think when we watched it on TV, it wasn't nearly as noticeable, but if you were watching on a device, it was a lot, especially in the Gauntlet, because they would zoom out and miss things. And I'm like, what are you? And they were cutting too soon. And I was like, please stop. But I really enjoyed that. I know we said we were going to try to get out of here early.
We're still early.
Yeah. So I guess, do you want to talk about the G1, or have you got to see any
I haven't gotten
G1?
to any G1. Okay. I have been way too busy for G1. I want to get to it. I want to sit down with it, but I haven't gotten to basically anything this week. It's been very busy.
I started a little after Collision ended. So if I had started it earlier, I think I would have got to all 10 matches. I got to the first 8. There was a big surprise for me, or at least a big upset early in the pay-per-view. I should have seen it coming. And then I will also say, I think that Okada versus Gabe Kidd was good. That's the last match Takeshita versus Gabe Kidd was really good. That's where we got to last night. And then while we were watching, night 2 was starting, and Gabe Kidd came out and said he hyperextended his knee in the match with Takeshita, forfeiting the match with Zack Sabre Jr., but is not yet pulling from the tournament. He expects to be able to compete later when his leg is better. So I was a little surprised that they didn't make him pull out, because usually when they're injured, they pull him for the tournament and that's it. But I guess because it was so early and because it may be because it's just a hyper extension. I know it's not comfortable, but it wasn't like it's not like he broke anything or anything like that. And so the last 2 matches, I think Zach's match was getting ready to start when I stopped watching, and then I had Tana was in the main event of night 1, so haven't gotten to those 2. But Yuya Uemura versus Boltin Oleg was very, very good. Like awesome. Way better than I expected. Like I was like, oh, this will be, it's fine. It'll be a match. And it was a match. It was one of the best matches of the first night. And so it was really, really good. But I did I will tell the quick story about my bracket. So Thursday, I was like, oh, I need to because Chris Sampson's doing the bracket. And I was like, oh, I need to do mine. So I'm just going through. I have no clue who's going to be in the end stage because I'm just going night by night. Get to the last page, and my final came down to Yota Tsuji versus Konosuke Takeshita. And then I was like, I want Takeshita to win this, but because he is still DDT, I don't think it's happening.
Yeah,
I think I think he's getting to the final. I think Tsuji is winning. So pick Tsuji as the winner, realize, oh, it's almost 5:30. I'm going to tune in to Speaking Strong Style, see what they're talking about. Then it turns out Steven had the same final that I did, and so did Brad. We all have Yota Tsuji versus Takeshita as our final. So then last night, I'm looking at it, and I was like, oh, God. I was like, I need to make sure that. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you had Takeshita. I thought it was you. Maybe there was a third person. So Brad had Finlay versus Big Roy in his final with Finlay winning. Listen, be bold. Why not? Have your bold predictions. So then yesterday I was like, oh crap, I don't know if I submitted it, but I forgot you could make changes up until the last minute. Well, I'm looking at it and I realized I have Tsuji undefeated, and I was like, okay, that's not happening. Nobody ever goes undefeated in the G1. So then I start changing. So I'm like, okay, he might lose these matches. Well, then it screwed up my final. And I was like, no, I think it's going to be Tsuji versus Takeshita. So then I'm having to play around with other wins and losses. I spent more than a half an hour just trying to get Tsuji and Takeshita back to the final. But then because of the changes I made, and then I had Tana winning a little too many matches, I was like, I don't think he's going to win quite that many. So I took a couple wins away from him. Then that put Boltin Oleg in the semifinals. I was like, I don't think he's getting that far, but I'm so tired of hitting one match and messing up my final. I'm just leaving it. My final is staying the same. I still think it's going to come down to Tsuji versus Takeshita, and I'm just going to leave it there. And Oleg probably is not making it here to the semifinals, but you know what? We're just going to go with it. I think it's more likely that it'll be either Evil or David Finlay. Oh, it was Boltin versus Gabe Kidd, I think is what it came down to. So I was like, all right, well, we'll just see. It's a lot of fun. I'm probably not going to win anything. Oh, and I went to check my bracket. I like
doing it. I like supporting him. He does a nice job with it.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun.
If I had more time over the last 2 weeks, I would have already done that, but it's just not reality right now.
So as I said, his final is the friends we've made along the way. Unfortunately, Goto is not in the G1. He injured his elbow, but now there are questions on if the elbow injury is real or if it was a way to write him out because he got cast in the new Street Fighter movie alongside Roman Reigns and Cody. Roman Reigns, and there's
it's a lot of people.
I think it's remember. So Goto is going off to film Street Fighter, so he is not in the G1. He supposedly has injured his elbow in the match with Zack Sabre Jr. Now there are rumors that maybe he really is not injured, and it was just a cover to be in this movie. So unfortunately, Goto, and that is how Tai Chi is in. Is Tai Chi, right? Yes, Tai Chi ended up getting the spot he did a play-in spot and is replacing Goto. So, but yeah, I went to look at you can check your brackets. I didn't check my brackets today, but I checked it yesterday. I have 10 whole points, but there are so many of us with 10 points that I am not even ranked. Because when I was finishing up like my predictions, it was like an hour or two before night one, and it was Chris Sampson said it was at 666 for the number of entrants, and he was like, if nobody else joins, then Evil might be winning in the G1.
Fair enough.
But there are so many of us playing that, and a bunch of us got 10 points that I'm not even on the board.
Wow.
Because
I'm glad everyone's supporting it. That's
I
awesome.
haven't looked today, but to see what my rankings are after night 2, but yeah.
Right on.
But it's a lot of fun, like Mel said. So
yeah, I like supporting him. I will get to it regardless, even though whatnot. I'll watch everyone else's. This just been ridiculous at my house lately.
I get it. All right. I think we have covered everything we were planning to cover. And if you missed the beginning of the show, or if you missed last week's show, we have shirts.
We have shirts. Go to oneradtee.com. You can buy yourself your Powerbombshells shirt. We appreciate all the people who are already getting involved with that, and everyone who's sharing it around. And we are ever grateful to our friends at One Rad Tee for helping us out with this as a partnership. It's a lot of fun.
Yes, it is. And so, yes, make sure that you follow us. So make sure you're subscribing to Fight Game Media on here on the YouTube channel. There's always tons of great content, especially if you're watching the G1. You're going to want to
Jeremy
make sure
and Steven are your go-to guys.
Yes, make sure you're watching Speaking of Strong Style, because they have you covered for sure.
Thursdays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. They go live. They have Crowns and XP in their chats too.
They sure do.
All right. So we are going to get out of here. I appreciate everybody who's been voting for me as well. And my husband. That's been really sweet of you guys. And Sam and I will see you guys next week at 1 p.m. Eastern on Sunday.